Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Techify with Adil. So today in our video we will be discussing about Azure Virtual Networking. So this is our next video in our Azure Fundamentals playlist. Whoever not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that you view the videos once it's been released, and share and like the video so others also is getting benefited. Okay, so here Azure Virtual Networking. So Azure Virtual Networks and Virtual Subnets enable Azure resources such as VMs, web apps, and databases to communicate with each other, with users on the internet, and with your on-premises client computers. So in general, Azure Virtual Network is a network that helps to connect to our on-premises network and connection within the Azure resources, a secure connection to connect to other Azure resources and to our on-prem network with the users through the internet as well. So an Azure network line like an extension of your on-premises network with resources that link other Azure resources. So Azure Virtual Network provide the following the key networking capabilities like isolation and segmentation, internet communication, communicate between Azure resources, communicate with on-prem resources, route network traffic, filter network traffic, connect virtual network. So we will discuss about each of this separately. So Azure Virtual Networking supports both public and private endpoints to enable communication between external or internal resources with other internal resources. Public endpoint have public IP address and can be accessed from anywhere in the world through the internet. Then private endpoints exist within a virtual network and have private IP address from within the address space of that virtual network. So first network capability topic we'll be seeing is isolation and segmentation. So Azure Virtual Network allows you to create multiple isolated virtual networks. When you set up a virtual network, you define a private IP address range space by using either public or private IP address ranges. So the IP range only exists within the virtual network and isn't internet routable. So this is one of the important thing to take note. You can divide that IP address space into subnets and allocate part of the defined address space to each named subnet. For name resolution, you can use the name resolution service built into Azure. You also can configure the virtual network to use either an internal or an external DNS server also. So Azure also has an inbuilt name resolution service. You can use that, or you can just use your DNS server. It can be an internal or external as well. So next, internet communication. So you can enable incoming connections from internet by assigning a public IP address to an Azure resource or putting the resource behind a public load balancer. So communicate between Azure resources. So to establish communication between Azure resources, we have two secure ways. The one is virtual network, the other one is service endpoints. So this virtual network can connect only VMs, but it does not only connect the VMs but also the Azure resources such as app service environment for Power Apps, Azure Kubernetes services, and Azure virtual machine scale sets. But the service endpoint can connect to other Azure resource types such as Azure SQL database and storage accounts. So this approach enables you to link multiple Azure resources to virtual networks to improve security and provide optimal routing between resources. So communicate with on-premises resources. So the next thing, Azure Virtual Network enable you to link resources together in your on-premises environment and within your Azure subscription. So it enables you to link the resources together in your on-premises environment and also within your Azure subscription. In effect, you can create a network that spans both your local and cloud environments. There are three mechanisms for you to achieve this connectivity. So communication to the on-premise resources, we have three methods to do it. So one is point to site virtual private network, the other is site to site virtual private network, and the other one is Azure Express Route. So this point to site connections are from computer outside your organization back into the corporate network. In this case, the client computer initiates an encrypted VPN connection to connect to the Azure Virtual Network. The next is site to site. So link your on-premises VPN device or gateway to the Azure VPN gateway in a virtual network. In effect, the devices in the Azure can appear as being in the local network. The connection is encrypted and works over the internet. So in simple words, point to site we can compare like it's our like a work from home. So we are working from home, then we are using a secure VPN connection that runs over the internet to access our data in our office. So that's site, that is from point to site. The site to site is like the companies in two different locations, maybe the second unit or second branch. So from one unit to another unit we are connecting through a secure connection that runs over the internet. So this is going to be site to site virtual private network. And the third type is Azure Express Route. So this provides a dedicated private connectivity to Azure that doesn't travel over the internet. Express Route is useful for environments where you need greater bandwidth and even higher levels of security. So this is very similar to the other virtual private networks what we discussed, but the difference is it's not going to run through the internet. It will have a dedicated line. So you're going to have your special line connecting to the site and to the user. So from the user side they will be connecting to the office or to the Azure resources with a dedicated line, so it doesn't share with the internet. So it's more secure and can have higher bandwidth since it's going to be your dedicated line. So these are the three methods we can have connectivity from the on-premise to the on-premise resources from Azure resources. Then route network traffic. So by default Azure resources traffic routes between subnets on any connected virtual networks, on-premise networks and to the internet. You also can control routing and override those settings as follows. So one is routing table, the other one is border gateway protocol. So using the route table, this allows you to define rules about how the traffic should be directed. So you can create custom route tables that control how packets are routed between subnets. So this routing tables are very basic. Whoever has from networking or who has done the basic learnings on like CCNA or networking concepts, you have learned about the routing tables. So it's very simple, just you have to learn about this routing table to understand this. So our routing table is like a predefined route. So if the data reaches a particular node, then where it should be directed to, so it will be predefined. So that's the routing table. The second one is border gateway protocol. So this is a protocol used for data trafficking also. This works with Azure VPN gateways, Azure Route Server or Azure Express Route to propagate on-premises BGP routes to Azure Virtual Networks. So these are the two ways that we can use it to override the default settings available in Azure that controls the routing of network traffic. Then filter network traffic. So Azure Virtual Network enable you to filter traffic between subnets by using the following approaches. The one is network security group, the other one is network virtual appliances. So the network security groups, NSG, we call shortly as NSG, are Azure resources that can contain multiple inbound and outbound security rules. So you can define these rules to allow or block traffic based on factors such as source and destination IP addresses, port and protocol. So this NSG we have used in one of our previous video, where we will be establishing connection after we creating a VM. after we create a virtual Azure virtual machine, then we would have established a connection. So there I have explained about this network security group. You can just refer back to that video. The link will be posted here, so you can just refer back to that video here. So network security groups are the Azure resources that would just we create some rules like inbound, like when any network traffic comes inbound with this particular protocol port number or with this IP address, what it should be done, or any data is trying to go out with this particular port number protocol and with this IP address, what it should be done. It should be blocked or it should be allowed. So all these can be derived in a group called network security group. So next is network virtual appliances. These are specialist VMs that can be compared to hardened network appliances. Okay, a network virtual appliance carries out a particular network function such as running firewall, performing WAN optimization, or such things. So network virtual appliances is a VM that runs the network functioning like firewall and WAN optimization, such things. So this network security group is a Azure resource. It's not a VM, it's Azure resource, whereas the network virtual appliance is a VM that runs functions of controlling the network. Next is connect virtual network. So you can link virtual networks together by using virtual network peering. Next, the peering allows two virtual networks to connect directly to each other. So network traffic between peered networks is private and travels on Microsoft backbone network, never entering the public internet. Peering enables resources in each virtual network to communicate with each other. These virtual networks can be in the separate regions. This feature allows you to create a global interconnected network through Azure. So user-defined routes allow you to control the routing tables between subnets within the virtual network or between the virtual networks. This allows for greater control over the network traffic flow. So one thing here we need to understand about is peering. So when you are doing peering between two virtual networks, though that is like a Azure's private network, so it doesn't go to the public internet, and it's being communicated only within the Azure's backbone network. So this is an important thing we need to remember with the exam point of view. So peering, and also the user defined routes allow you to control the routing tables between the subnets within a virtual network.